life on this planet started in the ocean, and it started on this planet because it's the only one in our solar system that has an ocean. The ocean is covering 70% of this planet, and we have the only planet that has an ocean, and it is because of this ocean that you have an ecosystem and everything functions. The other planets are either too cold and dry or too hot for any sustainable life. And we must take care of what we have here. And we are now the bosses. We are bringing this, the ecosystem out of balance. We have to bring it back into balance if we want to continue to survive on a living planet.
The great majority of scientists from all over the world now accept that climate warming is taking place at a speed that threatens all forms of life on our planet, with human beings the most likely cause of it, and the most at risk. Dr. Robert Correll is director of the Heinz Center and Senior Policy Fellow for the American Meteorological Society.
The reason the Arctic's important is that it's a big amplifier. You know, if you look at the global average, we talk about numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees, but you'll go to the Arctic, you'll 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 degrees, and you go down to the equator and you'll see 2, 3, or 2 or 3 degrees. So there's a gradation of more and more warming effect in the high latitudes of both poles.
The polar regions, the Arctic and the Antarctic, were the last places on Earth to be explored, cold and inhospitable to man. Yet above and below the ice and snow, these regions support a rich and wonderful variety of life.
For human beings, the poles remain the most hostile environment on Earth. Large-scale settlement has never been attempted, and for this reason they provide us with a unique opportunity for studying an ecosystem not yet distorted by human exploitation. In spite of the climate, there's life in abundance. Even the minutest microorganism has its place in the system. Indeed, one of the smallest, krill, has the biggest role to play of all. In the polar regions, there are vast quantities of krill, which provide the basic diet for whales, seals, and penguins. Here, if anywhere, man should be able to find out just how much he can interfere with the natural cycle of life without disrupting it.
If we start right this minute, the sense of urgency is not clear anywhere, in the U.S., anywhere. I think that they don't understand that this is not only increasing, but it's accelerating. We're working right now, a group of us, to demonstrate how these changes in the Arctic are not linear. They're not going up this way. They're going up like a slope that's getting steeper and steeper. And I think I mentioned what's happening to the sea ice. The same thing's happening to Greenland. And these are unequivocal statements about a reality. For those who would like to argue it's a part of the cycle, this is not a part of a cycle. There are cycles in it, but not very big. The real big issue is the growing of the climate change in terms of temperature, precip changing, and where the fish are, a whole variety of impacts, and they all impact back to us as citizens around the world. Bangladesh. 40% of Bangladesh disappears with just 1 meter of sea level rise. And I said that in an audience in Nairobi, and the Minister of Environment from Bangladesh got up and screamed at me, and he said, no, it's more like 60% of our nation. So we're talking about creating what some people are calling environmental refugees, people who no longer can live where they used to live because it's now been dramatically affected. And so a lot of these other questions of poverty and so on are going to get integrated into how we do those at the same time we adjust. So adjusting to or coping with or what we call adapting is absolutely the highest agenda item in the near term. What are the top 4 emitters of CO2 into the atmosphere on the planet? Number 1 and 2 are China and the United States. The number 3 and 4 are Brazil and Indonesia. And you say, what? It's because of the burning of the forest in Amazonia and doing the same thing in Indonesia, creating huge amounts of CO2 of almost the same, not as high as ours, but it's number 3 and number 4. So it's not only getting rid of gasoline and oil and all the rest, we have to manage our lands a little better so that we don't deforest so much, so rapidly.
I do believe that we are going through very hard years until man opens his eyes and has more respect for nature and the law of nature and the need of not only be driven by greed but by intelligence and by realizing that we could risk, and I think we do risk, to have a collapse of the civilization we have. If we don't have it, it will be the first civilization ever to survive.